Hi, so we are here again with another Prelims power play discussion in the environment section. So today's topic that we are going to discuss is nothing but the inclusive conservation initiative that was brought by Global Environmental Facility. Recently a report has been released by Global Environmental Facility and Conservation International, a non-profit and US based non-profit organization, regarding the initiative. So that is what we will be discussing in the first part, and in the second part we will be focusing on a bacterium that was recently in news, that is methane eating bacteria. So we also see what are methanotrophs or what is methanogens, and we will also see basics about methane, and we'll keep the discussion about methane. So moving on to the first topic, that is the inclusive conservation initiative. So as discussed earlier, this was initiated, or it was spearheaded or endorsed by Global Environmental Facility in 2022. So what does this try to do? What is this initiative is that it tries to inculcate the help of IPLC. IPLC in the sense, these are indigenous peoples and local communities in conserving or in safeguarding ecosystems. So this is what the basic premise of this particular initiative is. So how does this plan to do? Because we all know that this stewardship concept or trusteeship concept, the people generally consider, even great minds like Mahatma Gandhi have also said that humans must take care of the earth. They are the trustees of Mother Earth. So the, we all learn about all these things, like in ethics, or rather somewhere in modern India we used to learn the Guardian philosophy and all. So this is what a stewardship is. We are just caretakers here. But when it comes to caretakers, apart from regular people who are in the mainstream society, the indigenous people and the local communities living close to the ecosystem. For example, you take tribes in the forest. So they are much more closer to their own environment and ecosystem, and they are the actual stewards or actual trustees or caretakers of their own ecosystem. So by inculcating the helps of these IPLC, environmental conservation and environmental security can be boosted. So this is what the GEF initiative, that is the Inclusive Conservation Initiative, tries to do. This also, it has four major components. That is, first component is local action in order to deliver global environmental benefits, local action to deliver global environmental benefits. The second is global capacity building of IPLCs, Third is leadership of IPLC in international environmental forums, international environmental discussions or policies. And fourth is inclusive conservation knowledge in order to conserve. Inclusive conservation knowledge in the sense, that is the IPLC knowledge that can be used to conserve the particular ecosystem or any ecosystem for that matter. This is what the IPLC is all about, and this is what the report also says. The report is like, it tells how much percentage of that particular ecosystem has been owned by the IPLC. For example, if you take terrestrial ecosystems and landscapes, around 40 and 37% of these are being owned by IPLCs. And there is also this in COP 26, the Conference of Parties 26, something was assured, that is for the development of IPLCs, $1.7 billion will be set apart. So this was one of the assurances or one of the initiatives taken in the COP 26, like 2 years back. But this, what the report says is that only 7% of the set amount has gone to the IPLCs directly. So this is what the report entails also. This is what the IPLC initiative talks about, and this is what the report by Conservation International and GEF entails. Now moving on to the next part of the discussion, we have a bacteria. The bacteria is named as Methylotovi microbium boreatens 5GB1C. So this is a bacteria that has been recently found, so that can be used for a lot of things. In the sense, for example, this is a methanotroph. Now before getting into what a methanotroph or what a methanogen is, we'll just discuss about what this Methylotovi microbium boreatens is all about. This particular microbium, it is a methanotroph. What is the characteristic of methanotroph is that they eat methane. They metabolize methane. They eat methane. Like they have methane, like just like how we are having food, right? They use methane. This is what a methanotroph is, and this particular methanotroph, it can solve not only India's, especially the globe's issue of methane pollution. We all know how potent methane is a pollutant. It's a very big greenhouse gas. It is very potent. Even it is very highly potent than carbon dioxide, so that it creates a lot of issues. Yes, the time period is very small that it stays in the atmosphere, but within that particular time period, it brings long-lasting effects to the environment and to the atmosphere. So this is why methane is becoming a very big issue rather than in comparison to carbon dioxide. So this particular microbiome, this particular bacteria, it eats all these microbes, that is eats all these methane. For example, a study says that around 240 million tons of methane can be captured or can be reduced or removed from the atmosphere by 2030 by large scale use of this particular microbiome. So this is what the microbiome 5GB 1C is all about, and now we will discuss about methane, what are methanotrophs and what are methanogens. Before getting into methane, we will discuss methanotrophs and methanogens. What is methanotrophs? As we have discussed earlier, methanotrophs are organisms, especially archaic organisms, that eat methane, that help in the reduction of methane. So this is what methanotrophs are. This is what methanotrophs are, and as the name suggests, methanogens are those organisms or those species of animals that increase or that produce methane or increase the level of methane in the atmosphere. So this is what methanotrophs and methanogens basically differ. This is how they differ. And yes, moving on to methane, methane's basics. Methane, we all know, is one of the potent greenhouse gases. It is very lighter than air. Generally, methane is a very stable gas. CH4, one of the simplest hydrocarbons, it's very stable one, but when its volume is higher, that is between 5 to 14% of volume is in the air, it can become combustible even in the air. So yes, it is in the numbers, everything is in the numbers. It depends on the volume also. But this methane, it has a lot of sources. We all think that combustion only releases all these CH4, all these GHG gases, greenhouse gases and all, but methane also has natural sources. For example, we speak a lot about wetlands, like the importance of wetlands, the need for reviving wetlands, like terming them as Ramsar states for their conservation, all these things. But these wetlands are one of the major contributors of methane. These are major contributors of methane. All these animals, especially ruminant animals, all these cattle and all these like goats and all these things, they contribute a lot. Ruminants contribute a lot for methane. And yes, the termites also. A recent study has said that termites, they also contribute to the rise in methane. There are two perspectives that also argue, no, it does not contribute that much, but there is also a perspective that yes, it contributes a lot towards methane emissions in India, methane emissions in general. And also there are also other anthropogenic causes also. For example, natural causes, you can take wetlands, you can take volcanic eruptions, you can take vents in the ocean floor, all these vents, all these breaks and gaps that are there in the ocean floor, these vents release methane, and all these things are there. And also when it comes to anthropogenic, like yes, combustion of fossil fuels, they release methane. One of the major sources, combustion of fossil fuels, any fossil fuel for that matter, coal especially, releases a lot of methane. So this is how these are differentiated, the natural sources and anthropogenic sources. And one thing that has to be noted is that even though methane stays only for a few years, means 12 to 20 years it will stay in the atmosphere, even in this very short time period, it is a very big potent, so much potent than carbon dioxide in inducing greenhouse gases and the greenhouse effect in global warming. That is one thing that we must note or we must keep in mind, the year that it stays and how potent it is than carbon dioxide. Yes, now we will discuss a few previous questions regarding, not regarding this methane, but yes, things that were related to this question that was in news. So the first question goes like this: with reference to the global environmental facility, which of the following is or are correct? A. It serves as a financial mechanism for Convention on Biological Diversity and the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. B. It undertakes scientific research on environmental issues at global level. C. It is an agency under OECD to facilitate the transfer of technology and funds to underdeveloped countries with specific aim to protect their environment. Option D, both A and B. So these are the options that are have been given. 2014 based question. Move on to another question, that is a 2012 based question. Biomass gasification. Biomass gasification is considered to be one of the sustainable solutions to the power crisis in India. In this context, which of the following statements is or are correct? Statement number 1. Coconut shells, groundnut shells and rice husk can be used in biomass gasification. Statement 2. The combustible gases generated from biomass gasification consists of hydrogen and carbon dioxide only. Statement 3. The combustible gases generated from biomass gasification can be used for direct heat generation but not in internal combustion engines? The options are A, 1 only, B, 2 and 3 only, C, 1 and 3 only, D, 1, 2 and 3. We'll also discuss another question which was from 2017, and this is how the question goes. It is possible to produce algae based biofuels, but what is or are the likely limitations of developing countries in promoting this industry? Statement number 1. Production of algae based biofuels is possible in seas only and not on continents. Statement number 2. Setting up and engineering the algae based biofuel production requires high level of expertise or technology until the construction is completed. Statement number 3. Economically viable production necessitates the setting up of large scale facilities which may raise ecological and social concerns. Select the correct answer using the codes below. A, 1 and 2 only, B, 2 and 3 only, C, 3 only, D, 1, 2 and 3. Thank you.